Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The wisdom of the sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Radha Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Koustuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. Sort of feels like Monday, doesn't it? Why is that? Oh, it was a day. It was a holiday yesterday. Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm still lamenting the death over the transcendental crocodile, Koustuba Bahia. It was an amazing story. I think there's some animals you just know are spiritual, like evolved souls. And that crocodile is one of them. And someone wrote me today. They saw
you got to tell people about the crocodile. Listeners may not know.
The crocodile was living in the lake, and they say he guarded this temple in South India. And he lived in this lake, and he would come every day for darshan of the deities, and they would feed him buckets of rice and jaggery, which is like a sweet. And he ate no fish in the entire pond or turtles or anything. He was a vegetarian crocodile. Happens sometimes. And then he died. And I don't know how they died, but he's garlanded and everything. And he died on Shard Purnim, which is an auspicious day. I think there's these things like you just have to take one more birth. And it might be a crocodile. And that happened. Oh my God. Mara posted the article in the Times of India, which is the biggest newspaper in the world.
Do you think that the crocodile had like consciousness like a human, like it understood, okay, I'm in a crocodile body now, but I'm gonna make this my last birth?
I think, the story of Judd Bart says things like that can happen because he was a conscious deer and he was the king had to take birth. He was meditating on a deer at the time of death. He had to take one more birth. And so in that birth, he thought, hey, you know what? I'm not going to screw up. I'm going to eat. I'm going to drink the Ganges water. I'm going to eat the remnants of the food of the sages. And he was a very focused deer. He did have to take one more birth as a human. So I don't know. Maybe Bahia has to take a human birth one more time. But that's the thing. You never know who you're face to face with in this world. They appear like a crocodile. They could be this great soul. I'm convinced my dog is actually a great soul.
Gus.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, he eats prasad. He licks the feet of the devotees on a regular basis. He sits in Sangha all the time.
All right.
He's a great soul. Boy, there were a lot of great takeaways of that class, wasn't there?
Which
Don't
class?
visit the Holy Dham, Radha Swami's class. Don't visit the Holy Dham.
Hold it. Which class are you talking about? The Q&A?
Radha Swami's interview class.
Okay. You're going all over the place, Raghunath. I have no idea what you're doing today, but okay. The next subject. Okay.
I'm all over the place. It's okay.
So you picked up some points from the interview that you want to share.
Yeah. You don't visit the Dham. You go to serve the Dham. Dham means like the holy place, like Vrindavan, the abode of the Lord. You don't go there to like visit it, sightsee there.
It's not a
vacation. You're there to serve. How can I serve when I go there?
All right.
It's a great meditation. What else did he say? A lot of good points. Hold on a second. Geneviere's. All right, Geneviere's wrote notes on it.
Right. Good to come prepared with these, Raghunath.
Yeah, Geneviere's, I lost it. Put it back up on your stories. It's not there anymore. Oh, here it is. Recognize the blessing we have been missing our whole lives. Recognize a blessing we have been missing our whole lives. That was one point.
Recognize I don't know what that means.
Recognize a blessing we have been missing A blessing we have been.
In other words, look into your life and try to recognize some blessings that you haven't paid attention
Yeah, they
to.
haven't noticed. Okay.
Okay.
We need the help of others. A drowning person can't save a drowning person.
Okay. I think that was in the context of that distinction between serving selflessly and being prone to some type of mistreatment or something like that.
Yeah.
How to get over that. And he was saying that, you need communities where you can talk about this stuff and people can help you, right?
How about this one? Put Krishna at the center of relationships.
Okay.
Right.
That's kind of the two people holding hands walking towards divinity kind of thing.
Yep. Postulate 31. I'm going to stop there. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing good, Raghunath.
Announcements. Oh, I've got one announcement. I'm sitting here with Lex and Jiva from the Bhakti Recovery Group.
Yeah.
Bhakti Recovery Group in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, November 24th to the 27th. And go to the Bhakti Recovery Group website for more info on that. Maybe Mara can put that on the board.
Okay.
Bhakti Recovery Group website. What is it?
BhaktiRecoveryGroup.com.
No one had that web address. Good job. No one had that URL. They got that for like $9.
Nice.
Good job.
Other announcements, Mara?
We have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today. The men meet at 1 o'clock and the women meet at 2 p.m. And Josh Kane had to cancel his asana class this afternoon, so there's no asana.
Maybe he's mourning the crocodile.
Maybe.
I think
That
he
is that could be.
Nugget?
Alrighty. Nugget, my friend. Now, is this a random nugget woman?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's
Is
how
it
she identifies.
Is it random nugget woman week?
I'm not sure if she identifies as random nugget woman. But
maybe that's her pronoun.
Yeah, it could be.
All right. Where is here it is. I like this, Kastuba.
You like this?
Random. Okay, here on the Random Nugget Woman Week. Ellen Goodman, she's a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Normal is getting dressed in clothes you buy for work and driving through traffic in a car that you are still paying for. And in order to get to the job, you need to pay for the clothes in the car and the house you leave vacant all day so that you can afford to live in it.
Oh.
Ouch.
Let's read that
Ouch.
again.
I'm going to read that again.
Yeah.
Normal. This is normal, people.
This is what has become normal, right?
It's the new normal. Get dressed in clothes you buy for work.
You got to spend money for that.
Right? There's work clothes.
Otherwise, you don't need those clothes. Right? Suits
you should
and
see
all
the
that.
crazy costumes Mara has to wear for work. His outlandish costumes she makes all of her employees wear. Getting dressed in clothes getting dressed in clothes you buy for work. Driving through traffic in a car that you're still paying for. In order to get to the job, you need to pay for the clothes in the car and the house you leave vacant all day so that you can afford to live in it. It really seems like a hamster wheel, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
There is we've created so much debt in this world, just being in debt. And it's almost like we're in a factory farm that you can't get out of. Or like we're in the factory farm. Ever feel like that, Mara? Beep.
Yeah. Yes.
It's hard to get a word out of this woman.
She had to unmute. She was
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah.
Whenever I hang out with Mara, it's
nice.
It is nice. It's like I think drama and like fury. I think that's normal. That's normal for me. And when I'm having Mara's coming over, we're eating dinner or something together. I was like, "Hey, Mara, how's it going? You're not saying anything. Are you upset? Nope. Are you upset with me? Did I do something to hurt you? Nope. What's the matter with you? Why are you so dramatic?"
It's called Santosha, Raghunath.
She's Santosha.
Content.
She's content. Okay.
But but you hear this.
I think I'm a drama hound. I'm looking for drama. I'm looking for people to create drama in my life. I like sniff them out. You put me in a room at a party, I'll beeline right to the drama.
Okay. Try not to do that anymore. Now, I was thinking about this, Raghunath. It's a fact, right? Especially like the car and the house, right? Like people go into debt for that. You got to borrow money to pay for these things, right?
Yep.
And then but like, what's the alternative? Like, okay, you shared this thing. It's kind of, is it cynical? You're just looking at all of our lives and saying, everybody's a fool. I mean, what's your alternative? And does it mean you have to? Do you have to like? Do you have to like move to a commune or something? Like just drop out of society? How does it work? If you read like in Srila Prabhupada's books and his commentaries and everything, he just kind of describes a world like kind of what the world should be.
Right.
Which is, like you got an acre of land, right? You have a couple cows, and you're ready to like, produce the food that you need and whatever fuel that you need and whatever clothes it's all just kind of coming from the land and coming from the cows, and you're caring for them with love, and you kind of have this simple life, and like the majority of people kind of have that. And then there's a few people that are like doctors, and there's some teachers, and
even that, it's just like a higher echelon of the debt. I had a friend who was making $800,000 in a year, and he said, "Yeah, I have to." And I can't remember. He was like, "I'm declaring bankruptcy," or he was just like, I'm in total debt." I was like, "How do you get in debt?" He's like, "Well, I spent $850,000 this year. I made 800, but I spent 850."
It's like these athletes, they sign these contracts. They're making 10 million a year, 15 million a year, and then they go into debt. It's like, what happened? What do we like? If I give me 1 year's, salary, and I'm all 1 year of your salary, and I'm set for life, But yeah,
maybe.
But my point is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy an acre of land and get some cows and plow the land, and I don't know if I'm prepared to do that. I don't know how feasible that is for me, and to go live in a commune or something. But I think we can just kind of get a sobering message from this, that okay, maybe I'm locked in a weird, what is normal now is really abnormal, right? Maybe if I step back and I look at it, I can say, this is a weird life that I'm living, and that like so many other people are living. Like our blind pursuit of material comforts and thrills has put us in this weird world where like I'm always in debt, and I'm sitting in traffic for an hour every day, to get to work, to pay for the house that I'm never in anymore because I'm sitting in the traffic all the time, So what can I do? And I think, we can look at it, we can analyze it, we can understand it, and then we can try to add meaning to our life and try to bring in something that's going to, so that we can still reap some benefit. Like, where is this all supposed to go? Do I just do this until I die or until I retire? And then what do I do? But I think, it is this for a lot of people that I know, it's this practice of bhakti. It's this deep spiritual practice that can kind of make sense out of a life that is abnormal, that like, okay, let me bring this wisdom into my life. Let me bring these practices into my life. And then even as I'm living in this weird, bizarre, upside down world, I'm kind of developing wisdom through it. I'm developing deeper understanding through it. I'm developing detachment from it. And that nature that is, there innately in me, this beautiful, devotional, wise nature is starting to rise, as I'm going through life, as I'm growing older. So it's not that we necessarily have to make some kind of radical change, but like just add this into the life, bring bhakti into the life. And even in your abnormal world, you can begin to transform.
I think a big message here is also maybe simplify. Simplify what you can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about as deep as I go with that one. Maybe.
No, well, I think that's there too. In other words, it's simplified step by step. Maybe I don't need a job that's, that I have to drive an hour and a half to every day. I'm making a little more money there. Maybe I don't need to make that much money, and I could get a job that's like 10 minutes away from me. And maybe that'll affect the quality of my life. Maybe I won't, maybe on my resume, it doesn't look as impressive, but maybe the quality of my life improved. You start thinking different, right? What are my values?
Make more money if you can become more Krishna conscious with the money. If it's going to just take up more time and take up more of, especially if that job is a diversion from your spiritual life.
Sure.
or else people are just going to grow old and feel like, why did I work so hard? I neglected these things that were valuable. I neglected my family, or I neglected my spirit, my own spiritual life. The spiritual investment is also an investment. That's a bigger investment than your 401k. We need a spiritual investment. It's got a much bigger return on investment, and we need to keep adding to it as we grow older. You like that 401k investment?
I like that, Rogan.
Return on investment. You like that? It's bigger return on investment.
Okay.
I say that a lot.
So anyway, I guess it's just that nugget is just an encouragement to step back and really look at our lives and see how upside down it is. Okay, if it is upside down, if we are living in a bizarro world, then what are we going to do practically?
You know what, Prabhu? Also, I want to
it.
make this very interesting point here. Yeah. That sometimes feel like, I don't want this normal life. I want something different. I want to be famous, or right? Because fame is a big thing that people feel like, if I just had that, then I'd be okay. If I just got out of the rat race and got a little famous, you know what? Famous doesn't work either. Without the spiritual component, fame is just another delusion. And there's oftentimes a sad story behind fame. Like we see the Hollywood personalities in bright lights, and we see their higher light reel of their life, but we're not seeing the backstory. Oftentimes we see a lot of smiles, but we don't see the backstory. And because of that, I've compiled the list of great celebrities that you may know. Kostuba, Mary's laughing. His name was Weezer. Have you heard of Weezer?
I heard
the
of
child.
The band called Weezer.
Not the band. Go back. Right. Weezer died in a plane accident in the Army. This is whatever happened to the Little Rascals, our gang.
Weezer. I don't remember any Weezer.
You remember Weezer? Come on. Greasing Weezer. Stymie, in and out of prison for heroin addiction. 20 years. Chubby died at 17. Froggy killed at 16 by a truck. And Alfalfa, the saddest of them all, shot in the groin over $50 debt.
Okay.
Died at a young age. He was 31. It's some like curse of the Little Rascals.
What happened to Buckwheat? Well, Buckwheat did well.
Buckwheat did very, very well for himself. No, the only one who did well. I'm serious. There's a Little Rascals curse. Google it. They all died a horrible death, except Butch. Butch had quite a successful career, and Jackie Gleason did pretty good for himself too. The others was a mess. But my point is,
Little Rascals.
Jackie Gleason was he was Jackie. He was the cute kid. Anyway, Petey died also. Even the dog died.
I would assume that was a long time ago.
No, but I think it was a horrible dog death also. Wasn't expected. But my point is, sometimes you feel like, well, these guys have it all together. They're the Little Rascals. No.
I don't think most people think that, Raghunath. I don't think people's, like their ideal of success is like the Little Rascals. But okay, but your point well taken.
My point is that there's one side we see on the screen, and then there's a real backdrop of life. And I will say, even your spiritual life, it doesn't mean you won't get hardships. It doesn't mean you won't die untimely. But there is that strong eternal investment. And I think a lot of people practicing bhakti realize this through the pandemic, which has been a time where the rest of the world is sort of like, let's take up our addiction again, or we lost our business, or we lost our family, the pressure and the stress and the meltdowns. And the Bhagavatam, or our spiritual practice, was like a banister, or like a rope to grip onto, in slippery times. So I'm not saying pain, struggle, loss won't be there just because you're a spiritualist. It'll still be there, but you'll have something more subtle, which will be more solid to hold on to.
Yeah, there's this principle in Bhagavatam that bhakti is so powerful. Like, there's other yoga practices that they're valid and they're beautiful and there's a lot of deep wisdom in them, but they're impractical for us in this world, but there's this principle in bhakti that it is so effective and so so powerful that you don't have to drastically change your external world. You just have to add it into your world, and it becomes very powerfully transformational. You can stay where you are. What I think is
Stay where you are.
yeah, that you stay in your position where you're at. You can stay in your job. You can stay in your family situation. You can stay in your home, but you can begin to add more meaning to it and begin to see the world more clearly through it. And internally, you start to let go of things.
You know what, Costume?
You do what we spoke about yesterday, right? You clear out the ordinary in your mind. You make room for the extraordinary.
You know what, Costume? I will say, it's safe to say, I've had probably the toughest year and a half of my life this year. This year and a half. And you know what? It's been this sounds really Instagram cliche, but it's actually been a blessing. It's like the Bhagavatam has given me like a deep blessing with it. It's allowed me to frame it out differently. That's my word of the week. That's my saying of the week. Like, frame it out. It frames out distress or loss or heartbreak or all that stuff that goes with the pain of the heart. It actually, we say in the Bhagavatam, it severs the knot of the heart that's connecting us to this body. It makes us take a 30,000 foot view of my life from above in the bigger scheme of things, and just helps us deal with the minutia of the material world.
And I think you're right. You got to have that frame of reference, clear spiritual frame of reference. Makes sense of it all. Okay, let's get into the Bhagavatam, Raghunath.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam madhurayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha vavadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay. You were leaning into the mic, Rug. You said you wouldn't do that.
I promise I won't. I'm going to sit back, relax.
Yeah, not too far. But... So you know what we do today, this morning, right now, Raghunath?
What do we do? we talked about Kartik all day yesterday and the importance and the.
We did.
I'm learning the part of my vow is to learn the Jagannath Astakam for Kartik.
Okay.
Eight prayers to Lord Jagannath.
Great.
Yep. You want to hear the first one?
Well, it's a squirrel.
It's a beautiful squirrel.
Okay, let's hear the first one.
Sometimes in great happiness, Lord Jagannath,
that means
makes
Krishna, right? Krishna.
Lord Jagannath is Krishna. Yeah. Makes a loud concert on the banks of the Yamuna River. He is like a bumblebee drinking the nectar of the faces of the Braja gopis. Great personalities like Lord Indra, Brahma, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganesh worship his lotus feet. May that Lord Jagannath be the object of my vision.
You've brought all kind of things to the table today, right? You brought your crocodile thing. You brought your little rascals thing. You're bringing your Jagannath.
I'm emptying my mind.
You're like, you prepared for this. It's all out of context with the actual theme here.
I'm just talking, Prabhu. This is a talk show. This is like talk radio.
Is it? Is that what it is?
I think so. Maybe we've got to start defining what this is. I thought this was a show. I'm here to perform.
Okay, what I was going to say is what we're doing today, Raghunath. Right now, what we're doing is we're starting a new chapter.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Chapter 27, the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
The attack by Chandavega on the city of King Paranjana, and the character of Kala Kanya.
Mm-hmm. So it says attack on the city. What's the city in the allegory?
The body. The city is the body. It's an analogy.
Yeah. So this chapter is going to describe, we've been reading about this king representing the soul. He's within the city representing his body. He's got a dharmic intelligence, right? How to be a good, pious person, not lose control, but he neglected that represented by the queen. He neglected the queen, his dharmic intelligence, and he went off hunting. He went off in a mad pursuit for material enjoyment. He suffered because of it.
Bender.
He came back to the queen. He begged her, please come back, and that's when, I'm just making bad decisions. Even I know they're bad. I just can't, well, he's going to reestablish his relationship with the queen now. The queen wasn't hard to win her back, but in this chapter, he's going to reunite with his dharmic intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that he's going to be able to, like see things clearly again and live this pious life and reap good karma from it, and enjoy good karma from it.
It's that classic mantra. What was I thinking?
Yeah,
what was I thinking?
He was like
you don't
that.
ever chant that mantra, do you, Kostuba? What was I
I
thinking?
do all the
That's
time.
not one of your
Yes.
mantras.
I do
That's
all
one of
the
mine.
time.
That's one of mine on a regular basis. I'm going.
Sometimes
what was I thinking?
Sometimes when I visit you upstate and I'm trying to find some food, why did I come up here? What was I thinking?
There's no food.
This guy
here.
doesn't feed me.
He's going through my entire
There's
cupboard.
no
What is
groceries.
this?
Where
I
I live,
got kids. Man. You
Where
try
I-
to feed the kids rice and dal every day. Okay, it's rice and dal again for lunch. All the other kids are eating sandwiches and they're eating rice and dal. Because he was like, this isn't a food. This isn't a food. It's going through my entire cupboard.
well, it's all anyway. Let's not digress. But here's an important point, Raghunath. Okay, and this will help us approach this chapter. That to completely understand some of these teachings from these ancient texts, like Bhagavatam, we have to understand the context. And even though like the messages from them are timeless and relevant, like entirely relevant to the crazy world that we live in today, sometimes they're speaking directly to an audience that has a different frame of reference, right? Like this Vedic audience, right?
Yeah.
And so the difference in the frame of reference sometimes arises in passages in the Bhagavatam where it's juxtaposing the thinking and the actions of someone that's like really deeply spiritually guided,
right,
with those of like a materialistic person, right? And that's happening here in this. Like in our modern frame of reference, we see a spiritual person as like peaceful and content and faithful and kind and detached and holy and all of that. And then the juxtaposition of that, the converse of that, is the materialist, and we see the materialist as like a totally morally decadent person. Right? They're arrogant, they're rude, they're fixated on money, and they have all these vices. Like they're on a boat and they've got cocaine and they got
if you're on a
prostitutes
boat, you're definitely got prostitutes and cocaine.
Okay,
There's no people on boats out there that are not snorting cocaine.
Okay, right. So, but my point is like the converse of the spiritual person is like the morally decadent person, right?
Yes.
But the Bhagavatam is sometimes going to juxtapose to the spiritual person like the pious materialist,
right?
The person that's like living this quote unquote dharmic life, but for the purpose of reaping good karma and enjoying the things of this. Because the Bhagavatam recognizes this principle. You've heard this before, that the enemy of the great can be the good.
Yeah.
That like I can live this good, pious, dharmic life, but I'll never come
it's
to
called
the
Bhakti
purpose
Ned
of life.
Flanders, Kostuba. Bhakti
Okay.
Ned Flanders, You're just sort of like everything's sort of good, that it makes the material world seem like a good place.
And you never.
No, it's not good.
No, Ned. And you never realize the self. You never.
That's why I like
achieve
the Bhakti
purpose of-
recovery people, Kostuba.
Okay.
They're just slugging it out with the material world, right? And here with Jiva,
They
she's
recognize
slugging it
that
out with matter, huh?
They recognize that the world is problematic.
Yeah.
Right.
You and Mara of this world think, oh, material world's great. Everything's
Yeah.
great. Look at
No,
Mara.
I
She's
don't.
so peaceful. Everything's great.
So the point is, yeah, if that there's whole sections of the Vedic literature that deal with how to be a pious materialist, and people can think that that's the goal of life, but it's not the goal of life, and you'll miss the very purpose of life if you're a pious materialist. So now the king's coming back. He's getting his dharmic intelligence, but he's becoming a pious materialist, right? That's also not. He was the decadent guy, right? He was on the boat with the cocaine and all that. He suffered.
Yeah.
He came back to his dharmic intelligence. Now he's cultivating good karma. He's reestablished his relationship with his dharmic intelligence. So he's reaping good karma in life and enjoying it. But all along, something's creeping up on him. His city's going to get attacked, right? His body will be attacked by time. Right?
You ready for the Bhagavad Gita shloka?
All right.
You know where I'm going, right?
I believe I do.
Brahma Bhuvana Loka Puna Avartino Arjuna.
Okay.
From the highest planet in the material world, Brahmaloka, to the lowest planet, right? To some type of hell, right? From the highest planet to the lowest planet are actually all planets of suffering, whereupon repeated birth and death take place. This is how we analyze everything. And we can see that in this lifetime. Some people live like these incredible lives on earth, and some people live like in destitution. But whatever it is, it's temporary. It's not going to stay there. And even if you are that 1% that's really enjoying life, are you really enjoying it? It's always complicated. Unless you're purely satvik. Even if you're purely satvik and everything is going great, it's still temporary. You still got to give it up, whether it's the highest planet or the lowest. And so the devotee wants out of that wheel.
You know, the other day when Radhanath Swami arrived at Super Soul, and you and I sat down with him for half an hour or something, just had some time with him. And we were sharing some of the struggles that people that we know are going through. You know, serious struggles, right?
Remind me.
I won't tell you all, the people that we talked about and all that, but I'm just saying we were sharing with him, and then he kind of just, in a very grave way, compassionate way, he just kind of was like nodding his head back and forth and just saying, the world is so difficult, that he said that.
Yes.
I remember he quoted the verse that you just quoted.
That's right.
Brahma Bhuvana Loka. What is that? 8:14, I think, or something.
Something like that.
And he said, the enjoyment in this world, the enjoyment of this world, the material enjoyment, he says, is such a thin veneer. He said that was the term he used, right? It's a thin. He knows, because being in the position that he's in, people are always coming to him and explaining the difficulties they're going through in life.
Right. He said that. He was the one who quoted that. He was saying how.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Earlier too, you were saying, these people who are coming off as like the biggest celebrities. We're not seeing the other side of the pain that's going with that oftentimes.
Right.
When you get very, very high, there's a low with that. That's sort of, that is veiled. And then you find out about it when a great celebrity or something commits suicide or takes their life, and we're shocked. Or we find out that they're drug addicts, and we're shocked because they're just meditating some deep pain that they don't show their hand publicly.
Right. And so whether he was saying that, like, even people that appear to be successful and happy, when you talk to, he's the person that they come and reveal it to, right?
Sure.
Even big, huge, famous people that we all know of come to him, desperate, just like destitute. So he sees it from his perspective. He really gets a very clear vision of, like, whether someone is, you could say the Brahma Bhuvan, that's saying like on the different planetary systems. Some planetary systems are known as like places of enjoyment, and some are known as places of suffering, but actually they're all places of suffering, is what Krishna's saying.
Sure.
The enjoyment is a thin veneer. And so whether it's planets or even within this planet, like he knows people that are like, have very simple lives that have no wealth or fame, and he also knows people with the greatest amount of wealth and the greatest amount of fame, and he can see that the suffering goes across the board, right?
Yeah, it's interesting that, because in America we don't think of like, I'm going to practice Krishna consciousness to go to a higher planet. I'm going to practice Vedic rituals to go to a higher. Actually, some people in India, that's a thing. That they actually think like that. That's why the way Prabhupada teaches is so like, it's amazingly how broad a plethora of people, a swath of people that Prabhupada touches. Is that a word, Mara? She's sneezing and answering at the same time. She's like, hiya.
Which one, plethora or swath?
But the idea is like, people were like strict Hindus are like, that makes sense. And then us, we're like, highest planet, big deal.
And that's why I'm saying the context. We need to understand sometimes the Bhagavatam is speaking in this Vedic context where people think like that, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's happening right there where Krishna himself is speaking against the teachings of the 4 Vedas, telling Arjuna, you got to get your mind like free from this kind of thought, like that's taught in the Vedas.
It's his opening gambit in the beginning of the Gita. He's denouncing the Vedas.
Yeah,
it's quite revolutionary, the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll of course you'll find that in the Upanishads too. But you're right. It is revolution because he was really showing how you can work in this world and and let go of all of that. Because generally, working in this world from the Vedic perspective is done to enjoy the things of this world. And so Krishna says, no, you can still work. You can stay in your position, right? You can stay where you are, but you can transform it through wisdom, through detachment. And so in any case, I just wanted to share that because that's what's happening now. You think, oh, he's back with his dharmic intelligence. Everything is good, right? Well, externally, there's a veneer of good. There's a veneer of life is better now, and I'm enjoying materially, and everything's fine. But something's creeping up on him. Chandavega is creeping up on him. And Kalakanya is creeping up on him. Time is creeping up on him. Disease is creeping up on him. Even if you think you got a good position in the material world, just give it a little time, and you're going to watch everything that seems to be facilitating your happiness is going to start to disappear, including your own body.
Prabhu, the magic of chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita, if people just can consume this chapter, they can be happy.
Consume it.
It doesn't matter if you're the 1% who are controlling everything and you're control. They always think there's a secret 1% and they're controlling them. They're meeting in Switzerland and they control Mara and you and the chief tag.
Mara's controlled.
Grant and Davy, they're all in charge of everybody here. But no, it doesn't matter if you're the 1%. If you are not satvik, you are not happy. If you are satvik, then you can find some happiness in this world. It's still material happiness. And so the interesting thing is you can have tons of wealth or you can be completely broke. But if you're satvik, you're happy.
Right.
I first realized this when I was bathing in the Ganges in Calcutta.
Okay.
I was a new devotee and I was taken to bathe because there's a holy river running through Calcutta.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right. And it's weird because it's like a port. And there's boats and cargo and stuff you'd expect in a dirty port in Calcutta. But there's also a bunch of Brahmins and a bunch of ladies bathing in their saris right next to all this like gross things going on. But some of the Brahmins have nothing. We would call them just homeless, but they're just living as if it's still a village because Calcutta was just like 3 villages. And they just built a city on top of it. And there's at least back in the 80s, I haven't been there in a while, but it's a strange cross between this British city and these villages. And these people are just living there and they're like taking their morning bath and they're worshiping Ganesh under a bridge. And it's like, it is like, and they're just sitting there chanting mantras at 4:30 in the morning. They're not intoxicated. They're not, dirty. They're completely clean. And you could just see there's like a vibrant energy from these people. I even see these people like, the British built like lakes in parks and like city blocks, but it's all fed from the Ganga. So and you see people, modern people just power walking around those little lakes in the morning and, exercising. And you see just like a sadhu walk in the pond and take a bath. It was like they're living different lives. And this life that was promoted in the Vedas is how to become satvik. If you just want to be happy, forget about God. If you just want to become happy, memorize, study, and apply the 14th chapter of the Gita.
And then and through that sattvic lifestyle, the mind is becoming sattvic, and it's doing what we're talking about yesterday, right? But that's not enough. Then it's what that sattvic mind is clearing space in the mind for the deeply spiritual, right? I'm
not recommending not transcendence. Transcend.
I know you're not.
But
well, I'm just saying that because that's where this chapter goes. But Raghunath, what you're saying reminds me. The last time I flew out of Calcutta at night, it was nighttime.
Yeah.
You're in an airplane, you're flying out Calcutta, and you're looking down on the city, And in one sense, it looks like any other city at nighttime, right? It's like just lights everywhere,
Yeah.
But you see that big river cutting through, and you're like, "That's the Ganges River right
the
there."
Ganges
Yeah,
River. It's
that's
like
coming from the lotus feet of
Lord
Lord
Vishnu.
Vishnu. It's like all it's come down from the Himalayas. It's gone through Rishikesh.
Got
It's
the
gone through Hardwar.
Gangotri, going to Ganga Sagara, all these holy cities along. Brahmins have always lived there,
For the
bathed there,
person with the
worshipped there.
faith, for the person who has that faith, it's just like it moves you. You're just like, oh, how fortunate, how fortunate that river flows through that land.
True.
Even they built this crazy city all on top of it.
Built it right on top. Anyway, I'll bathe there again and again. Okay, let's dive into this sweet honeypot.
Let's do it. Yeah.
The great sage Narada continued, "My dear king, after bewildering her husband in different ways and bringing him under her control, the wife of King Purunjana gave him all satisfaction and enjoyed sex life with him."
Okay, so
That's an allegory. That's not.
This is an allegory.
It's an allegory.
It's not. It's no commentary on gender roles or anything like that.
It's about a man enjoying pious life.
That's right. He reconnected with his dharmic intelligence. He's living a more pious life, and he's enjoying life. He was suffering when he was decadent, and now he's enjoying when he's dharmic.
The queen took her bath and dressed herself nicely with all auspicious garments and ornaments. And after taking food and becoming completely satisfied, she returned to the king. Upon seeing her beautifully decorated, attractive face, the king welcomed her with all devotion.
Okay, so we were here in last chapter. He was searching for. He came back from his decadent life, and he was searching for that dharmic intelligence. The queen, and the queen couldn't be found, and she was a little hard to win back. She wasn't just coming back so quickly. Now here he's reunited. It's come back, and people experience that, right? Like, especially people that go through 12-step programs, stuff like, okay, I'm back now. Right. I'm making good choices. I was desperately, I was a slave to my addiction. Now I'm got that under control. And so now there's a sense of harmony in his mind again. I'm no longer controlled by my lower nature. That's what this verse is saying.
Queen Purunjani, that means the wife of Purunjana, Queen Purunjani, embraced the king, and the king also responded by embracing her shoulders. In this way, in a solitary place, they enjoyed joking words.
So pleasant.
Thus, King Purunjana became very much captivated by his beautiful wife and deviated from his good sense. Well, what does that mean? Because I thought she was his good sense. He forgot. Oh, here we go. He forgot that the passing of days and nights meant that his span of life was being reduced without profit. So here it is.
This is the key.
You're diving into all these Vedic rituals for more pious enjoyment of the material world. But the fact is, the window is closing in our life. And we tend to think the window's got a long time to close. Like, I don't think I'm going to die tomorrow, but I could die tomorrow. Would it be weird if I died tomorrow after saying this? Look, even Jiva's like, oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't curse yourself. You're so superstitious. But yeah, it's like,
Says
here's
the one
the deal.
who believes that the crocodile is. Go ahead.
That's real.
Okay.
That's all real. That crocodile is real. Here's the deal. If I'm going to die tomorrow, I'm an elderly man. I'm an old man. If I'm going to die tomorrow, I'm an old man.
Your point being?
My point being.
Oh, I see. You're old right now. Like old is like relative to how soon you're going to die.
Yeah, I think, well, whatever. I got 30 years. Right. If I'm 30 years, if you're lucky, Raghu. Come on.
Sure. Yeah. And so the point is he's been dharmic and so on. He's been good. And it's made him happier. But it's also blinded him. It's also made him blind and deaf to the truth, to the higher truth, right? That he has no sense of detachment, and therefore he's not seeing truth, and he's not aware of the danger that exists, right? That someone's going to attack his city while he's sitting here and enjoying, and that's time, right? Disease and time are going to attack the city of his body.
Mm-hmm. All right, text 4. In this way, increasingly overwhelmed by illusion. Been there, done that. King Purunjana, although advanced in consciousness, remained lying down with his head on the pillow of his wife's arms. Great analogy. In this way, he considered woman to be his ultimate life and soul, right? So the Vedic processes of elevation and dharmic work, Bhakti Ned Flanders, like everything's great. But becoming thus overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, he cannot understand the meaning of self-realization, whether regarding his own self or the supreme personality of Godhead. It's really true. If you're really satvik, you'll look at people taking drugs, smoking cigarettes, driving recklessly, staying up late. You'll be like, why are they so foolish? There's a little bit of arrogance that goes with the mode of goodness, isn't it?
There is. Yeah, it can blind one. What?
You're like you said that about my boxes of cereal and granola bars for my kids.
What did I say?
I'm gonna go get my kids' lunch pail right now. You can judge how bad it is.
What's your point? Why are you bringing that up? I'm lost here. Right? Help me understand your point.
It's okay. You're a little judgmental.
No, that wasn't Raghunath. That was not judgmental. That's care. That's love. I'm saying, Raghunath, all these boxes, all this stuff is just like really bad for you. You're eating it. You're feeding it. You can do better. Than there's delicious things out there that
I'm
you
a
have
single
for breakfast.
dad.
Gita Priya is going to help you, Raghunath, with this stuff.
I need Gita Priya.
Yeah, she's going to help you with this. You need Gita Priya to come up there and go through and say, Raghunath, I'm going to tell you what this is going to do to your liver and to the livers of your children. I'm going to tell you what this, she knows all this stuff really well.
I don't know how people do single parenting. It's just overwhelming.
She can help you with that too.
Okay.
But you mentioned that you thought that this pillow that he made a pillow of the arms of the queen, right? And you thought that was an interesting metaphor.
Yeah.
And there's something in that the commentators are bringing to our attention. That the word for pillow used here, the Sanskrit word for pillow, is upadi.
Ooh.
And they're tying that into the word upadi somehow, right? Like upadi can mean ignorance, or especially we use that word it means like a substitute, or like a sense of false identification, right? You don't realize who I really am. You identify. He's saying I'm the king, right? I'm the enjoyer. I am this body, all like that. And it's putting him to sleep. It's the pillow that his head is resting on as he's sleeping. Right, our false conceptions of who we are.
What's your pillow? That's a good takeaway. What's your pillow? What's your pillow, Mara?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it may be, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a money order, I'm a wife.
Whatever it is you use to sleep through the importance of life's real message. What is your pillow?
Nice.
Sleeping through the.
Right. So he's. It seems he's comfortable. It seems he's in exactly the position that he needs to be in, right? Oh, I'm in my head is just resting in the soft arms of a beautiful queen, but he's blind to the fact, that's his ignorance, and he's blind to the fact that his city is under siege, right? Any moment now, the city's going to be attacked. All right, Rogan, I think that's it for today.
Well, we pushed. We had a lot of banter, but it was Krishna conscious banter. I think that's okay.
All right, except for the Little Rascals thing.
No,
that was Bhagavatam.
No. It's very Krishna conscious. We're talking about the temporality of existence. Doesn't matter if you're a famous celebrity like Alfalfa, you still get shot in the groin sometimes.
That one hurts. That one hurts.
It is, because we loved Alfalfa.
Yeah. You still haven't told us what happened with buckwheat.
Someone can Google that for me, please. What happened to buckwheat? I think it wasn't pretty. What happened to buckwheat? Jiva's on it right now. Oh, wait a second. He died of a heart attack at 49 in Los Angeles. Not bad. I mean,
okay.
There's no
Pete's getting shot in the groin.
If Pete's getting shot in the groin or dying, Chubby died at 17.
Wasn't one of them in a band? Like the Rascals, the band The Rascals. One of them was in that band.
No.
Yeah.
That was the courtship of Eddie's father.
I don't even know what that is. I believe one of the Little Rascals started a band in the 60s called The Rascals.
I don't think so. That was like the Rascals.
Mara?
She's
I'll
on
look
it.
into that.
She's,
You want takeaways?
No, you do the takeaways, and I'll look that up.
All right, great.
but I will say there was one guy who was really sort of a cute guy. Nicky, maybe. Doug, he became a criminal. He became a full-blown criminal and murdered his girlfriend.
Oh,
Nicky, I think. Was that? Most of them were alcoholics. Probably a lot of celebrities were. Probably a lot of celebrities are. Okay.
Takeaways?
I'm sorry.
What is normal now is really abnormal.
What's normal now is abnormal.
That goes back to our
Remember where we started, Ragnar?
Yes, that's where it all began.
Our blind pursuit of materialism has put us in a hamster wheel of debt.
A hamster wheel of debt. Hey, we're hamster wheel of debt from Scranton.
Bhakti makes sense out of an abnormal life.
Yep.
Simplify what you can. Invest invest in your spiritual 401k.
Yeah.
Ragnar, where's your mind right now?
No, I'm just thinking about it. I'm just
Okay, good,
thinking,
good.
sir.
All right.
Stay where you are, but cultivate internal spirit.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ragnar, the dead.
I'm absorbing this stuff. I think deeply.
I know you do.
The subtle is more solid.
I like that. I say that a lot.
You do.
Subtle is the solid. The subtle is the solid.
Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam allows you to frame out pain.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. 30,000 feet. That's our new way of saying zooming out.
Yeah.
Seeing life at 30,000 feet.
Good can be the enemy of great.
Sure can.
That's something like Aristotle via Kostuba.
Material,
Excuse me.
material enjoyment is a thin veneer.
There you go.
Hi, we're thin veneer.
What's your pillow?
What's your pillow?
Ragnar?
That's a good one.
Get off the decadent cocaine boat.
Yeah.
Ride in
swim.
that train.
And you still get
And-
shot in the groin.
Oh,
Yeah.
ouch.
Ooh. Still get a shot in the groin today. It can happen to any of us getting shot in the groin. Robert Blake, that's it. Robert Blake, former rascal, killed his girlfriend. Oh, that was Beretta?
Oh, that
Robert
was
Blake
good
was
from
Beretta?
Beretta?
That was Nicky.
Oh, man.
That was Beretta. Yeah, he had a strange.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, Ragnar.
Hey, wow, that's a pretty good acting career, though. From Little Rascals to Beretta. Besides the murder part, everything was great. Beside rotting in jail for the rest of your life. Hare Krishna. Well, let's change. Let's not end on murder again. We've done that a few shows. Let's end on an uplifting note. What's uplifting? What can we bring back from today's show that was a little uplifting?
The crocodile?
The crocodile went back to Godhead.
Oh, look who's awake.
Oh, hi.
Good morning,
Joanna.
Rooney.
You want to do a shloka? Do a shloka. I'll give you $1. Come here. $1 in your pocket right now. I owe you $10. I know. Come here. Henry gave him $28 for those 5 shlokas. One shloka. Look, you will get $1 extra. You'll get $11 now if you do one shloka in the microphone. Anyone, Tejam, you got it. I got $1 in my pocket right now. All right.
Okay, Spanky and Our Gang was an American 1960s sunshine pop band. Is this word I'm getting? I got to keep doing more research
Keep
here.
digging. Keep digging. You won't find one good story except Butch.
All right.
Butch. The lesson of that is the grouchiest, meanest, tough guy wins. What kind of lesson is that?
Okay, I got it now, Raghunath. I was wrong. You were right.
Ooh,
But there's
say
a
that
connection.
again.
That's all. You're only gonna get it once. But Spanky and Our Gang was an American '60s sunshine pop band led by Elaine Spanky McFarlane. The band derives its name from Hal Roach's Argang comedies of the 1930s, known to modern audiences as the Little Rascals, because of the similarity of McFarlane's surname with that of George McFarlane, Spanky.
Wait a second. So he was in what band?
There's a woman that had a name that sounded just like Spanky McFarlane's name and so therefore, based on that connection, they called the band Argang, Spanky and Argang.
Well, who were the Rascals? The band called the Rascals.
That was just a whole different thing. They
There
got
was
their
no
name
Little
from
Rascal in the Rascals.
They got the name from Soupy Sales.
Soupy Sales.
It's true,
What we had to live through.
right? What a wasted life! Oh my
What a
God! Thank
wasted
God we
life.
found Krishna
I'm thinking
Bhakti.
of Soupy Sales on my time of death. And Flip Wilson.
No, who was the other one?
Match Game 76.
Nipsey Russell.
Nipsey Russell. I love Nipsey Russell. Oh, everybody. Why do because he would do this
What about
every morning?
Kitty Carlisle?
But it's hold on. Come here. What's up? My phone? I don't know where it is. I didn't touch it. I don't know where it is. He's like, I'm on a podcast, kid.
That's gonna podcast over here.
Podcast. Give me a shloker. Get out of here.
It's like you seem to be talking about old celebrities.
Yeah, so
I'm
what
on a
kind of
spiritual podcast talking about Soupy Sales. Come on. You can examine the lives of these people, you know?
What about Paul Lynde?
Paul Lynn. He was good. I love when Kostuba starts squirreling out of control. The whole world's falling apart when Kostuba starts spiraling out of control. We have nothing to believe in anymore.
It's still in there.
It's understandable if I go there and then you bring me back. You reel me in. You reel the kite in. But when you go there, it's like there's two suns in the sky and it's snowing in June. Come on, Kostuba.
But I saved it for the end, Raghunath. I saved it for the end.
You save it for the end.